Acura ZDX 1.0 survived from about 2009 to 2013 as a coupe crossover before its time. Now, in 2023, about 10 years later, ZDX 2.0 is here as Acura's first ever fully electric vehicle. Here is the full design, the full details. Let's get into it. Up to 500 horsepower, over 300 miles of range. We'll go over the full details here in just a little bit, but let's go over the design first. Check out the ZDX. Looks so much better than the spy shots, and rightfully so. The spy shots were, well, the vehicle wasn't finished. This thing looks so similar to the ZDX's predecessor, which was the Acura Precision EV concept that I previewed for you guys when I went to New York City almost a year ago exactly at this point. So there is an A-Spec and a Type S. Those are your only two trim levels, and we have mostly pictures of the Type S, which is going to be somewhere around the $70,000 range. We'll have closer to launch, we'll have official pricing. Launch, I believe, is early 2024, but we'll get into the official details here in a little bit. This grille design is very similar to what we saw in the Precision EV concept as well, except instead of these individual carve-outs being illuminated, we have a little light bar that goes across. I'm sure that's far more affordable compared to individual backlighting. All right, here's the back end of the ZDX. We have the chicane style rear taillights. We kind of knew what the back end was going to look like. And we also kind of have, like, styled from the Precision EV concept, kind of like this boat-like line that goes from the front of the hood all the way to the back. So they've carried that over. And we have this silver piece that kind of runs around the whole vehicle, but stops on the back here on the Type S and is accented with this glossy black here. We have massive wheels. We'll go over the wheel details in a little bit. The Type S comes with massive Brembo brakes as well. As we look at the front end here, I think it's a gorgeous looking vehicle. It's about the same size probably as the MDX aggressive hood that we have here. It almost reminds me a little bit of Infinity's hood I just reviewed on the QX50, for example. Unmistakably Acura with the diamond pentagon grille. It's a little bit small, but they don't need it for it to be huge. It kind of needs to be there to carry on Acura's design language. And ever since the Beak went away, I think it's been this sort of diamond pentagon grille. Anyways, we have the chicane style daytime running lights with the reprise of the jewel eye headlights. We have a triple color combination. Typically we have just a two-tone, but we have glossy black here at the bottom. We have the silver, like I mentioned. You have this double Apex blue pearl. Now this is glossy. The one on the concept was the same color, but it was in more of a matte or a semi-matte finish. And then the third color, again, here is the black. So black, silver, and then paint color. What do you guys think? Do you like the triple two to tritone? I guess tritone is the way you would call it. Let's keep going through the images. Here is, I guess, a look at the Type S badge. ZDX, so here's how it's going to be badged. Well, this Type S will be all-wheel drive, but the A-Spec, you'll have the option of all-wheel drive. So you have the little E badge there, which we don't see in America. I think it's only on like the Honda E that I'm thinking of. So we kind of have this Honda badge here that looks familiar compared to other products. Another look at the lights at nighttime with the grille lighting up. It's going to be looking unique at night, and that's what you want. You want to stand out in this age of electrification and crossovers. You got to have unique lighting. Looks good in the nighttime. They also have this little video. I guess I'll be quiet and let it play for you. Cool. Performance electrified. All right. I want to stop in here a little bit because we have some really nice detailed images here of the interior. This is probably their Orchid interior on the Type S. Well, we see the Type S little badge down here. You have accent lighting, a lot of it around the cup holders, along the storage at the bottom. You have it on the dash. all the way across on both sides of the steering wheel. You have a volume. Well, we'll get to the volume knob here in a little bit. So, liking the orchid interior. Here it is in Tiger Eye Pearl, and as much as I like that blue color, I don't know. I think I'm liking the Tiger Eye Pearl here better. Let me know. Would you be picking the ZDX in the Type S in either Tiger Eye Pearl or that double apex blue? All right, man, it looks really good in yellow. I've just been kind of on a yellow kick, and I like how it matches the brake calipers as well. So looks good. Now, what are we looking at here? This is the A-Spec. This is what the commoner, it's a luxury vehicle or precision crafted performance vehicle or premium performance vehicle, whatever you want to call it. Acura doesn't really identify as a luxury brand, but yeah, so this is the entry level model here, A-Spec. So it's already on the sportier end, and they don't have the glossy bits on the front like we have on the Type S. What are the other differences? Well, you have smaller wheels, and we also have a single tone, or you could say a more simplified two-tone, because you have gray here at the bottom, and you don't have that glossy black roof that you see on the Type S models. I think it looks pretty cool. I think this is the only image that we have of the A-Spec model, which will get about 300 miles of range. We'll go over those details in a little bit. Looking at the interior, okay, so this is actually the commoners. I don't know why I'm saying commoner so much, because it's going to be a $60,000 vehicle. This is the entry-level ZDX here. We already kind of had that orchid interior on the Type S. So what's going on? Well, let's start with the A-pillars. We have Bang & Olufsen sound, which is standard across all the models. I don't think you upgrade to the Type S and you get a better sound system like you do on the MDX Type S, for example. But yeah, Bang & Olufsen is replacing ELS audio on this vehicle and on upcoming refreshes and redesigns for Acura. So ELS, one of the best in the industry. It'll be interesting to see how well Bang & Olufsen is received. I have a B&O, a lesser Bang & Olufsen system right now in the Bronco Sport that I'm testing. I like it quite a bit. I'll talk more about that in my review of the Bronco Sport. But anyways, check out this steering wheel, A-Spec badge, red stitching. It looks like we have paddle shifters, so hopefully we get a little regen braking action here. It looks like this would be a radar cruise control over here on the left, but again, keep in mind that this vehicle is going to be produced in the Spring Hill, Tennessee plant, which is not an Acura or a Honda plant. It's actually a General Motors plant. So I'm not as familiar with the controls compared to the Honda and Acura products. Anyways, we do have a heated steering wheel button on the steering wheel. Typically, Acuras like to put those buttons somewhere in here at the bottom of the steering wheel. All right, a couple USB-Cs. I don't think we have a charging pad on this model. You'll probably, actually, it's right here. It's tucked in front of the armrest, so kind of a vertical slot. All right, moving our way up. Love the climate control. Is it as good as Honda's triple rotary dial? No, but it's really close because you still have manual fan control buttons and then rotary knobs for the temperature control. Heated and ventilated seats even on this entry-level model. And then look at this big screen here. We have a volume knob. Bravo. Not only that, something that you can't get on its, you could say, stablemate, the Cadillac Lyriq. I don't believe you can get Android Auto or Apple CarPlay on now and upcoming General Motors products. So Acura and Honda staying strong to what customers want, and that is Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. And customers also don't want the True Touch interface. And notice it is completely gone, kind of following in Lexus's wake in a way, as Lexus got rid of their remote touch interface. They all have their proprietary names for those ridiculous touchpads. But yes, all touchscreen. It's going to be wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. I'm really excited for it. Don't know if I have head-up display in this model. I guess we'll find out here in a little bit. But we do have memory seats. And I like the accent on this woofer here in the door with the aluminum little speaker grill. Over here we have lane centering and lane departure alert warning, but I think I'm done with the interior right now, and I want to go over to the press release. So if you made it this far in the video, smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe because I will drive this vehicle closer to launch. So probably early spring or late winter would be my guess in 2024. But let's look at the headlines and we'll get into the small details. ZDX Type S, estimated 500 horsepower, making it the most powerful Acura SUV ever. Not the most powerful Acura ever because that's the NSX, which the NSX Type S has like 600 plus, right? All right, ZDX anticipated to receive an EPA range of 325 miles. That's an A-Spec single motor rear wheel drive. Very few rear-wheel drive Acuras out there. All right, we also have the first ever inclusion of Google built-in. We saw that software there. Very excited for that. We also have Bang & Olufsen, like I mentioned. You also have AcuraWatch 360 Plus, which with hands-free cruise. This is the first ever technology for an Acura. We see this sort of super cruise technology on other General Motors products, and it's going to be exciting. Acura and Honda have been developing, or should I say investing billions of dollars with General Motors for this hands-free automated software. So pretty excited to test that out. It was designed in the Design Studio in LA. We already talked about it carrying over the precision EV concept styling, and it will start in the $60,000 range with first client deliveries started and slated for early 2024. ZDX marks a critical step in Acura's accelerated path to 100% electrified lineup. Don't think Acura or Honda has specified specifically when. They just said it's going to happen faster. The Honda lineup, the full electrification I'm talking about, and Honda plans to be fully electric or fuel cell, which is a type of electric, right, by 2040. I mentioned that we have the Google built-in screen. That is 11 inches, but also the precision cockpit is 11 inches as well, so a total of 22 inches here. I didn't talk about that precision cockpit. I kind of totally went over that. Here's what it's going to look like. I'm sure it's customizable. Park, reverse drive. You have your range over here on the bottom, odometer. Also in the center bottom, temperature, amount of kilowatts you're putting out. Here's your battery percentage. Yeah, I'm sure, like I said, it's customizable digital speedometer over here. Also, you can use the Google built-in maps to initiate preconditioning if you have a destination already put in. So that's pretty nice to improve your charging speed. Standard on all ZDX models, like I mentioned, is a Bang & Olufsen sound system, which has 18 speakers, including 4 in the headliner and 14 channels of amplification and a subwoofer to deliver powerful and sophisticated sound. All right, for the safety features, it comes standard with AcuraWatch, including Acura's first applications of rear cross traffic braking. Interesting, I didn't know they didn't have that at this point. You also have blind zone steering assist and rear pedestrian alert. More on the AcuraWatch 360 Plus. That only comes in the ZDX Type S, so you're gonna have to fork over 70 plus K to get the hands-free cruise driver assistance technology, enabling true hands-free driving on up to 400,000 miles of compatible roads, helping to make long drives and commutes more comfortable. It also features Acura's first automatic parking assist system in an Acura, which helps take the stress out of parallel parking. Okay, now on to the performance. I know you guys want to know more about this. So we have a near 50-50 weight distribution, as that's pretty common with electric vehicles. The rear-wheel drive setup has 340 horsepower. However, you don't have to upgrade to Type S to get dual motor, which I absolutely love. You can get dual motor all-wheel drive on the A-Spec as well. We have a multi-link front and rear suspension to deliver a premium driving experience. So it doesn't look like it has that double wishbone. Acura really prides themselves on incorporating that double wishbone, but this is more of, like I said, an Ultium General Motors platform that they're tuning for their own purposes. All right, the ZDX Type S, alongside its 500 horsepower, has a height adjustable air suspension, kind of like, I think that's optional on the MDX Type S, if I remember right. You also have performance tuned adaptive dampers and massive 15.6-inch Brembo front brakes with 6 piston yellow calipers. Drivers can customize driving experience with different multiple drive modes, including sport mode for maximum acceleration response. All right, that's what I want to know when I rip off 0 to 60s in my testing. The Type S has 22-inch wheels, the largest ever for an Acura. We have 275 with self-sealing tires on the Type S as well. You can also get it with summer tires instead of the all seasons. All right, for charging, we have DC rates up to 190 kilowatts. I'd say the industry average is around 150, probably in the luxury segment. I think Tesla's around 250 kilowatts, like on one end, right? And then Lexus is somewhere around 150 kilowatts, maybe on the other end. All right, so DC fast charging approximately 10 minutes. The 102 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery pack, which is standard in the rear wheel drive model, can gain 81 miles of charge. All right, so summing that up, 81 miles of charge in 10 minutes at the 190 kilowatt charge. I'm not going to get too much into the Bang & Olufsen sound system or the charging stations right now. I want to get straight into the spreadsheet. Yes, Acura gave us a spreadsheet. I'm very grateful for this, so I don't have to make my own. So we have 2 trim levels. Once again, A-Spec and Type S. Now, horsepower, even though you get dual motor as an option on the A-Spec, is still capped at about 340 horsepower. Luckily, your range only goes down by 10 miles. So you can get the all-wheel drive traction and performance. We don't know how much more money it will cost over the rear-wheel drive. That might make it make or break for the A-Spec all-wheel drive, but we'll find out. Still an impressive almost 300 miles of range on the Type S. So you're not sacrificing a whole lot of range. I mean, it's about 35 miles or so, 35, 40 miles, but you get massive horsepower, you get bigger wheels, you get high performance adaptive dampers, you get air suspension, bigger, thicker tires, you get cool Brembo brakes on it as well. It's going to cost probably about 10 grand more. Oh, we do have length here. So in comparison to the MDX Type S length, it's 197.7 inches, which is roughly identical to what we see in the MDX Type S, which is 198.4 inches. So it's slightly shorter lengthwise, if that makes sense, front to back, slightly shorter than the MDX Type S, despite only having 2 rows of seats, which I'm assuming it only has 2 rows of seats because they didn't mention anything about 3 rows. But the wheelbase on the MDX Type S is just a hair under 114 inches. We have about an 8-inch larger wheelbase here, so you can stuff that large 102 kilowatt hour battery into. In terms of width compared to an MDX, it is actually more narrow than an MDX. The MDX Type S is 78.7 inches, so it's about 1.5 inches less wide than an MDX Type S. And then let's look at height. It's about 2.5 inches lower than the MDX Type S at 64.5 inches. Max towing capacity is 3,500 pounds regardless of spec. All right, so my impressions. Well, I like the looks of it. I think Acura has done a great job making sure it looks like an Acura. I love the software and the safety features in it. I like the battery size and therefore the range. This thing getting on most trims over 300 miles of range, which is where you want to be currently in the luxury market, in my opinion. It instantly takes out the Lexus RZ. It takes out the Genesis GV70. It takes out the Audi e-trons as well with its power and range and price. So Acura, bravo. It looks great. It's going to perform great. It's priced probably where it needs to be. It's still really expensive. It might be the most expensive Acura SUV ever, more than the MDX Type S, but we'll see. I want to see the interior a little bit more. The interior, at least on the A-Spec, in the black and red that I saw, didn't look that premium, but I'll reserve judgment. The Orchid seats looked pretty good in comparison on the Type S. What do I wish this had? Well, maybe the charging rate would be a little bit faster at 190 kilowatts. It's better than most in its segment, but it's still not like 250 kilowatts where you see a lot of the Koreans as well as Tesla be at. Also, 500 horsepower is a lot, but if you look at like the Blazer EV SS coming out, that has like 570 horsepower or something incredible. It would have been awesome for this to have that just ludicrous over the top sort of power. But I mean, it's still going to, okay, so the base at 340 horsepower or whatever it was, it's still probably going to rattle off a 0 to 60 in around, I would say maybe 5 seconds. Around 5 seconds, and then the Type S will probably be around 4 seconds with 500 horsepower. So 4 seconds 0 to 60, which is stupid fast in this big and heavy of a vehicle, or 5 seconds, which is still stupid fast in this big and heavy of a vehicle. Still gonna be plenty quick. especially for Acura customers. Let's say that, you know, they're loyalty customers who are upgrading from something like an RDX or an MDX. It's going to blow their freaking minds in terms of the amount of acceleration response that you get from an electrified powertrain. So Acura, I'm excited for you. I think it's going to do well. I think next would be, you know, the RDX, the redesign of the RDX, which shouldn't be fully electric. And it should get a Type S as well. Can you imagine an RDX Type S all-wheel drive with either the 3-liter turbo or the 2-liter turbo that we see in other Type S models? So I'm really excited for the next RDX as well. It might be their last shebang for internal combustion Type S's, at least in terms of full redesign. Anyways, I got to shut down there. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know down below. Are you impressed with the ZDX? Would you be picking an MDX Type S or a ZDX Type S, or a base MDX versus a base ZDX? I'll see you guys battle it out down below. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Have a great day and peace.